Hello, okay, today we're going to be focusing on solving. I use the sign answer to mean solve, not solve as in dissolve. We're going to solve quadratic equations using the square root property. All right, now what does this property even mean to us? If we were to see the letter k, some positive number, x squared equals k, like this one for example. Hold on. So now we have x equals the positive and negative square root of k. So and this may feel strange, but give me an example with an actual number. X squared equals 49. We'll try that one. Now, if I were to take the square root of both sides, it would be x equals the square root of 49. Hold on. Let me write that. So now why the positive and negative, or plus and minus? Plus or positive 7 squared is 49. Now negative 7 squared is also 49. Now we have to think about two answers for x, both a positive answer and a negative answer. Here's our next example. So now I'm still using my equation solving skills. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. So I have x squared by itself. Now I'm going to take the square root of both sides. It would be x equals plus and minus 3. Now you see I wrote my answer in several different ways. X equals plus and minus 3. X equals 3. X equals minus 3. To check both those answers. You know the curly brackets I see there? That's a solution set because there's more than one answer for x. So the set for all the possible answers for x that solve this equation is 3, comma, negative 3. Now don't confuse this with an x and y pair, an ordered pair. This is a solution set. Okay, now you see I've used parentheses here for my answer because the parentheses means whatever x equals, I would put it into the parentheses. When you have a negative number, it's especially important because if you put in your calculator negative 3 squared, you're going to get the wrong answer. So if you use parentheses, you're more guaranteed to get the correct answer. Okay, Those are both positive answers, positive 3 and negative 3, and I'll figure them out, and we'll see if 0 equals 0 on both sides. Now, students would tell me, well, 9 minus 9 equals 0. I can stop there. It's obvious. Uh-uh. My job isn't to interpret what your check is. It's your job to show me that your answer is correct. And the proof, 0 equals 0. That is true. Now the other side. Whoa, that was a huge eraser. Sorry about that. Let me fix that again. Okay. Now we can see that both answers check fine. They're both true. Now we've got another example to work on. Now you say I have 3 examples here. And the last one, I'm going to go through a complete check to show you how this works when you're putting in the check within a larger equation or more complex equation. But first, we're going to look at x squared equals 5. We're going to take the square root of both sides, and then x equals plus and minus the square root of 5. Now, 5 is not a perfect square, nor can you simplify it. So you leave it as square root of 5. Remember, square root of 5 is a number. It's not some strange number from a different planet, some alien number. It's an actual, real value, a real number. Now, I am going to check this problem just to see how this does work out, so you get a sense of it, okay? With this square root of 5, all right? The positive and negative aspect of that. Okay, people will look at this and say, the square root of 5 squared. Now, when you square a square root, it's really becomes the answer instead of the square root. They cancel each other out. They're inverse operations of each other. I know this works because when we square the negative, negative times negative is a positive. Okay? Now our second example. We have a fraction with a square root. I'm sure we're all shaking in our boots right now. It's okay. Calm down. It's just a number. If you take a square root of 49 over 100, you can break it up to the square root of 49 over the square root of 100. And we'll see what happens when we do that. Okay, so we have x equals positive and negative 7/10. If we were to put it in this equation and test it, it would check out just fine. Now I'm going to go through the third equation now, and you do the check there, and we'll see what happens when an answer is not a perfect square within a more, we'll say, messy or complicated equation, and we'll see what happens. Okay, now remember, we have 4x squared, and we use our equation solving skills. We haven't forgotten those yet. We're going to divide 4 on both sides. We want the x squared by itself, and we'll go from there. Okay, now I have x squared equals 12. Well, I have to take the square root on both sides, and I'll have to simplify that radical. Okay. Now, I wouldn't leave the answer like this. I would simplify that radical. I can split it up into the square root of 4 times the square root of 3. And now that's our answer. X equals the positive and negative 2 times the square root of 3. Now when we put it back in the equation, the original equation, it should work just fine. It should check. See what happened here? Once I squared it, I multiplied it through and wrote it twice to show you what it means. 2 times square root of 3 times 2 times square root of 3. 2 times 2 is 4. The square root of 3 squared, or times itself, is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Now we'll go with the rest of the check. I've checked the positive answer. You can check the negative answer, and then we'll work out to be the same thing. Will be true. Okay? And thank you for this vlog. I will see you next vlog, where we will do more work with solving quadratic equations using the square root property. Thank you.